Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. Come on in and sit a while. Relax. This is not going to hurt. This is the Fox Robbins. You're at the Fox Robbins Business Show, all about entrepreneurship and small business affairs. Don't ask what we talk about. We talk about everything.
Business.
I mean, we'd have to. It would be easy to say what we don't talk about. Faster and quicker we talk. Otherwise, we cover the waterfront. Yeah. Whether you're just thinking about forming a business, or whether you've actually started,
right,
or you've got a business that's up and running.
Yep.
Or you want to get out.
Yeah. You want to sell it?
You want to get.
We did 3 shows on how to prepare your business for sale.
Or you want to buy up your competition. Or you want to go
M&A
into import export, start into the international side, if that's part of your business plan.
We can show you how to do that.
We're talking about all of that stuff. And I'm Bill Fox, the co-host, but the other co-host is a guy that you got to pay close attention to. This guy. These are not my comments. This is what I hear out on the street.
Really?
That
the gutter?
They say this guy is perceptive. And they say that he is phosphorescent. He glows in the dark.
And bioluminescent.
And he's potent. Now, and wait a minute, this is a family show.
Right, yeah, right.
It's Coach Robbins.
I'm not impotent.
Coach, we're going to talk in this episode about what's called the 7 C's. That's letter C. The 7 C's. That is how to find and hire great employees.
Yes.
So we're talking about hiring practice, and
hiring them.
You've got a lot to say about that.
Get the right people on the bus. That's the first half of the expression I've used thousands of times. Get the right people on the bus.
The first thing, the author is Alan Hall, and he has a lot of good things. He has he's as entrepreneurial practice behind him. He's not just a theoretician. He's a doer.
Does this come from entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs.com? Yeah. I've read some of Alan's stuff. Bright guy.
He says, he's speaking about entrepreneurs, but he says, those of you who are pushing to form a business, you can't do it alone. Some try. Most fail.
Right.
You have to build your team.
Exactly.
That's a favorite of yours.
That's
you agree completely with that.
Get a good team around you.
Well, either build it now or build it later, but you got to build it. And that means finding, interviewing, hiring, equipping, and training.
Yes.
All of which is expensive. Matter of fact, he says...
it's an investment.
He says in his article, that a statistic for small businesses, between $25,000 and $50,000, to the process of finding, interviewing, hiring, equipping, and training.
Absolutely. It's expensive to find people. It's expensive to bring them on board. It's expensive to train them. But that's an investment in your future of your company. It's also expensive when they leave, because either you have to fire them because they're not performing, you got the wrong person on the bus, you got to get the wrong person off the bus, that's the other half of that expression, or, what's even worse, that's a good employee that's leaving your company, and it's going to be expensive to replace that employee.
Well, but you as a business owner, you should know this.
You should know it up front.
You should know this, and you should you say, somebody quit or somebody I fired, and just blow it off.
Yeah.
You just dumped, $25,000 to $50,000.
Right. Out the window.
Plus,
right. You're going to start all over again.
And the equipping, you say equipping. What's equipping? Well, maybe simple things, but meaningful things. A desk.
Yep.
If that's in the part of it, computer.
Cell phone.
Phone, supplies.
Sure. Right.
Maybe a vehicle if that's in the part of the business. I don't know.
Proper software.
Because
I complain about our archaic software at the university all the time.
Right.
That, my God, the software let's at least get into the 20th century, if not
Well,
the 21st.
we also mentioned training, but Coach, training is an area of great failure
Yeah,
in business.
Absolutely.
Is to skip the training, to say put somebody to work and let them learn on the job.
yep. Now that's some
Do you see that in your?
all the time. That's something I talk about, the lackluster software that we've got to work with at my job, but I will give high marks to the fact that they want us to continuously, one of those two words is right, keep our skills up to speed. We have 40 hours, I think, of continuing education units that the university pays for every year. I do over 100 because I love to learn. But continuously upgrading our skills, that's one thing that my company does fabulously well.
Right. But many businesses
Far
skip
too
that,
many, the small businesses.
or do a poor job of
They
it.
do a horrible
Training
job.
is a
horrible,
horrible area.
a horrible job.
The compensation part,
Yeah, right.
but salary,
Yep.
bonus. I
Right.
don't know. You run into business persons who maybe are actually pay a sign-up bonus in
Yeah,
some cases.
sure.
I know it's not prevalent, but I
Yeah,
mean it does
but
happen.
the better companies that are desperate for good people, they have to do it to entice people to come.
So maybe bonus,
Yeah.
benefits, taxes,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. As a business owner, you better know what you're talking about.
People asked me over and over and again, you've got, or said to me, bankers, reps, you got the best people in the industry. I like to think that they were the best people because I hired them, I train them, I want them, I take care of them financially, I take care of them professionally, personally, and people say to me, what is your biggest asset? Is it the brand name of the company? Is it the suppliers that you've got? I have some great suppliers, exclusive lines, quality lines that nobody else could have in my territory. But I always said, no, it's my people. That's my competitive advantage. That's my number one resource because I had stores all over Eastern Mass and Rhode Island, and I can't beat all of them all at once. Those people are taking care of the customers. My people were my most important asset. Therefore, I want to take care of my most important asset. That's my people.
Well,
Not my customers. My people take care of my customers.
The author, Alan Hall, says leaders in business, people who are looked upon as leaders,
Yeah.
they see employees as a financial return.
Absolutely.
Others in business,
Yep.
and there are many, who see that as a cost only.
They're an investment.
My God, look at all that money I'm spending.
They're an investment. They're an investment. Now, you should be managing and measuring your investment with every single employee,
Right.
not some stupid once a year, oh, I'll give you all fives, on the rating system. No, sitting down and working with people and figuring out where they stand, what they want to do to improve and work with them. That's management. And far too many people, as you know, I complain about this constantly, they don't know how to manage human beings. They haven't got a clue, and yet they're promoted into these high management positions. They haven't got a clue how to deal with people.
But it happens in our system.
Constantly, perpetually, I rail against it. My daughter has left her accounting job because she's just sick of doing it for 15 years and just took over the managing several hotels in Newport, a little chain of hotels in Newport. And she immediately said to me, Dad, I really need to learn more about how to manage people, not just how to manage financial statements and money and taxes. And I've been sending her articles, PowerPoint presentations, because she hears me rail about, oh, you're going to be the manager of this store. You're going to be the manager of these people. I've got a clue how to manage a human being.
Right.
And a clue. Who made them a manager?
Even
Fairy dust?
in spite of shortcomings and problems, though, the author points out that most employees work out, some do not.
Yep.
But this is something that's a favorite saying of yours, and this Alan Hall says this.
Yep.
He says that those who quit and those who get fired are my problem.
You bet. You bet.
There's a lot of people who don't say that, Coach.
I did. If somebody I hired particularly quit, or I had to fire them, I probably shouldn't have hired them. But even if I hired them and they were right, something went wrong and I had to fire them because I didn't manage them right. It is my fault. It is my responsibility for sure. But it is my fault to some degree, and I got to figure out what I did wrong and don't do that. You know,
a lot of people
like Henny Youngman
don't want
used
to look
to.
at that.
Henny Youngman playing his violin used to say, "Hey, I went to my doctor. I said, hey doc, it hurts when I do this." Doctor said, "Don't do that." Okay. I mean, you got to figure out what you did wrong. What is your part? I've never seen a situation 100%. It's either the employee or the employer. There's always shared responsibility, right?
And we also, based on what we said earlier in the show, losing employees is expensive.
You got to replace them.
Look at that $25,000 to $50,000 that you threw down the can.
Bye bye. Now you got to go out all over again.
But it also might be their cost as a cost. Losing customers.
That's right. Those customers may go to your competitor
or
with that employee.
Sales.
Right.
And in this hiring process that the author talks about, is he says that the people that you're hiring, their skills, their work skills and experience are vital, are key, but they're not the only measurement. He's got something called the 7 C's.
Yeah, I love
C
it.
is in
C
letter
as
C.
in,
So
okay.
we're going to go through the C's.
Absolutely.
The first one, this is what he's advising small business people to look at. Expand their viewpoint from simply looking at the skill set of the employee, which is important, but expand it to these 7 items. The first is competent. First factor to look at, does the candidate have the skills, the experience, the education,
the training?
Can this person get the job done?
Right, absolutely. That's first, that's where you start. Is this a competent employee?
But don't stop there.
There's a lot more to go, but you got to start there. And when I say competent, they may not have all of the skills. Do they have the right attitude and aptitude? I've spoken about those 2 words many times before. If they've got the right attitude, if they've got the right aptitude, I can help them to become more competent, and I should be after I hire them, but they have to have a certain level of competence for even an entry-level position.
And number 2.
Before you go off of competent, I think I've said this many times in many shows. If you give me a chainsaw and ask me to go into the woods and start cutting trees, you have made a horrible mistake. I am just not good with tools or my hands or mechanically. I can't fix my airplane engine. I can fly the airplane. I can't fix my car. I know how to drive the car, but that's not what I do. And if you hire me for your chainsaw crew, and then I cut somebody's leg off, that's your fault. You hired the wrong guy. I'm incompetent when it comes to tools.
The author goes to point number 2 that you should be looking at is capable,
right.
Capability.
Yep.
What he means by that is, will the candidate go beyond necessary tasks?
Yep.
Deliver more effort and creativity.
Yep.
Or is that person, can you perceive that person is a so-called clock watcher?
Yeah.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock, see you later.
Right.
Or is that person a get the job done?
Right. And get it done right.
It's 5 o'clock, but I haven't finished.
Right.
And it's important.
And I'm going to mind if I stay 15 minutes, I'll lock up.
Is that the kind of person you're talking to?
And this goes back to the 2 A words, attitude and aptitude. Mm-hmm. They have the right attitude. They fit in with the culture. We'll talk about that in a few C's.
Right.
They fit in with the culture of my company. They have the right attitude and the right aptitude. Herb Kelleher formed a pretty good airline in Southwest Airlines, and he said, I hire people, most importantly, for their attitude and their aptitude. I can teach them things the way we do things around here, our culture, if they have the right attitude and the right aptitude.
And does that, do you perceive that the person you're thinking about hiring has the ability to grow in the job?
Absolutely.
Is a one-level person.
And wants to grow.
Right,
attitude.
And take on more responsibility.
Attitude and aptitude.
So capability. And now, Point number 3, the third C, is compatible.
Yep.
Compatible. Will the candidate get along?
Yeah.
Will the candidate appeal to clients,
Yep.
customers, clients,
Right.
partners, and are you harmonious with the boss? Compatibility, the author says, is tricky. He says it's tricky.
It is tricky. To me, compatibility, I know he's got 7 C's, and I think that's great. Compatibility is very close to me to culture. Will that person do things the way we do them around here? I've already got 30 employees in this building or whatever, and we do certain things around here. Is this employee going to fit in, is another way to put it?
No.
Are they going to be able to get along with all these people? Are they irascible? Are they difficult personalities? You don't need that type of person in, a bad apple spoils the whole, barrel
But
type
that person
thinking.
has the skill set.
They may be competent and they may be capable, but they're just not the type of personality you may not want to work with, and other people don't want to work with them. And that's a very difficult one to tell right up front because everybody's putting on their best face, right?
Well,
but you'll learn very quickly if you monitor and measure and make sure that person is fitting in very nicely.
When the author says it's tricky, Coach, he says you can hire people who are they're so-called get along, go along.
Those
Go along with it. Or you have employees who, it's a cliche these days, but will talk truth to power.
Yeah.
Another way is if there's bad news, will that employee deliver it to you? You're the boss.
Right.
Will he come up and say, boss, such and so isn't working out?
Yeah.
And you don't want to hear that.
I do. Quite frankly, I do. I want to hear it. I had Jim Cook of Boston Beer, actually his president of his company, come and speak to the university, American Society of Competitiveness.
Yeah.
And this is a family show, so I have to be careful. But Jim had the attitude that anybody could come up to him, Sam Adams, Boston Beer, and say, Jim, you're wrong, F you, this is stupid. And Jim, JD, MBA, Harvard, brilliant man. He wants to hear that stuff. He wants to hear from that person that says he's got the wrong idea, and he wants to listen to that person and maybe make some changes, make his company even better. And we know he's created one heck of a good company.
So you need to, as an employer, you need to know whether
Absolutely.
That's valuable and whether you ought to be hiring that.
You have an open door policy. Come on in and tell me what you're thinking.
The next C, Coach, is commitment.
Yep.
Commitment. Is the employee in it for the long term or just passing through? And I mentioned to you, just before the show, I recall, back in my generation, it was interview for jobs, find a job, get hired, and stick with the job.
40 years.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
And that was my father's advice.
Right.
You got a job, hang in there and stick with it.
Right. The golden watch, I call it.
That ain't true today.
Not today.
That's what I understand. Is
That's
that the employers today are hiring people in a group known as the millennials.
Yep.
People who came, grew up around, year 2000. Those people now are probably 30. Are they 20s, 30s, and 40s?
25 to 38.
Late 20s.
Well, yeah.
30s,
25 to
40s.
30, 35. Yeah.
Okay. There's a so-called millennials.
Yep.
But I also read in a business article that the millennial generation can pretty much be counted on to change jobs 6 or 7 times.
Yep. Because it's a lot.
Bing, bing, bing.
It's a lot easier today because of technology to find jobs, to move to a higher level, to make more money, move to a different city. It's a lot easier than it was 40, 50, 75 years ago. A lot easier than it used to be. And if you're not managing people, you're going to be losing good people. If you're not taking care of people, these people want to grow in their jobs and they want more money. Let's face it, money is not unimportant. We can talk about what motivating factor money is. It is a hygiene factor more than a motivating factor. Internal motivation, that's a different story. But it's still an important issue. And people, if you're not taking care of your employees, they're saying, hey, I'm stuck here. I'm in a dead-end job. There's no place for me to go. I can't grow here. I can't make more money. I can't move up the ladder. The only way I'm going to do that is move out. And then with the technology that's available, it's easy to find other jobs, to get out there and be interviewing for other jobs. So yeah, they're going to change jobs 5 or 6 times. But personally, I still feel if you're managing them properly and monitoring their success factors, then you got a better chance of keeping good people.
So are those a person you're interviewing is just passing on through? Are you just a stepping stone?
Yeah.
And what you can look at that person's history.
Yep.
Of past jobs.
Sure,
If a person has a history, and more importantly, reasons for moving.
Exactly. Why did you leave why are you interested in leaving your current job? That's a question I would ask. Yeah, why you want to come to work for my company? Why are you leaving the company you're with? What are you looking for?
The next C on the list, on the author's list, Coach, is character. What is this person's values?
Yep.
Do the values align?
Yeah.
With
are they honest? Yeah.
What your company
Truthful?
is trying to do?
Yeah.
Are these values honest? Are they honest values? Does this candidate tell the truth? Does this candidate keep promises?
Yep.
Is the candidate above reproach? Is this candidate selfless? And is the candidate a team player? That's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions, but I'll tell you, back to compatibility, are they a team player? Are they going to fit in with the team or be something that's detrimental to the team? That goes back to the character, number 3. But yeah, are they honest? I don't want, this is a tough one to tell right up front, quite frankly. What you need to do is do your job and make the calls to the references on the, far too many people I've seen don't make those calls. Every time
Don't check references.
Don't check references. The University of Massachusetts hired a guy to manage Southeastern Mass, didn't call one of his references, had to fire the guy in 3 months. He was a complete jerk. Right? Capable technically, but he was a horror show when it come to people managing. He was just what we call a serial boss. I posted a picture of an outhouse, a 2-story outhouse, and I said, this is the way this guy thinks you manage people. The managers do it up top, and down below was the employees. That's not a good vision, believe me. Okay? Then nobody ever checked his references. I did after, I came aboard and said, what in the heck did you hire this guy for? I called Boston College. I asked them what they thought. They said, nobody called us, otherwise we would have told them. He's a horror show. Don't touch him. Check the references.
The next C on the list is culture. Culture, and you mentioned you've already mentioned this previously. How do the employees behave? How do the employees interact? And will the candidate fit expectations or, policies and procedures at the company? Because a bad fit means disruption.
Yep.
And difficult encounters.
You took Lucent Technologies back 20 years ago that had the deepest pockets of any company on the planet. And all they did is go out and buy up a lot of little startup companies with great technology. And what they failed to pay attention to did their culture, their stable 3-piece suit, necktie, culture, archaic managers, quite frankly, not managers at all in my opinion, but they had deep pockets, buying up all these fast-growing little companies. The cultures were a total mess, and their stock went from $88 to $1 in 2 years. They were the most widely held stock in the world. Why? The biggest problem is they're buying up companies and the culture clash all over the place.
They had it all.
They just didn't know how to manage. They did not know how to manage people or other companies, and the cultures didn't fit. The culture, the best definition I ever got from culture, a gentleman by the name of Bruce Pulling, who was a senior vice president at AT&T, his definition of it, Bruce said, the way we do things around here. That's a great definition of culture. This is how we do things around here.
Right.
Do you fit in or not? If you don't, you got a problem.
And compensation. Next C is compensation.
Right.
Does the compensation you're talking to this, the person you're thinking about hiring, is compensation agree with the marketplace?
Yep.
There's a marketplace, and that's...
There's a market for everybody, sure.
If you don't know anything about it, you can look that up.
Right. Oh, that's available to you. There's Indeed.com. There's all kinds of data out there that, hey, people who have this skill set working for this company are making between 70 and 85,000. I mean, that information's all there.
But does that compensation also fit with the expectations of the candidate?
Exactly. Exactly. What is the candidate expecting? And
Well,
again, if the candidate is there,
that candidate walks in, wants an $80,000 a year job, but the marketplace is 50.
yeah, he's not going to get it from my company.
You say, well, you bring that person in, that
Yep.
person's not going to be there very long.
Absolutely.
Will on your compensation practice, will you think the candidate might feel unappreciated?
Mm-hmm.
Will the candidate underperform?
Yep.
And the author says to you, Mr. Business Owner, don't create future challenge. for
Yeah,
yourself
right. Exactly.
In this compensation.
My attitude is, if you're working for a company and you're not being paid what you think you're worth, and you're looking for a job primarily because you want to make more money, right?
Right.
Then I think the biggest problem is, your problem is, why isn't this person worth this money to you? If they're not, then you probably want to get them off the bus, okay?
Yeah.
But if they're worth it, maybe you ought to pay attention to it. Certainly, compensation has been talked about in organizational behavior books as not the most important factor, and in fact, it's not. The intrinsic stuff is more important to somebody working because they love doing what they do.
Yeah.
Believe me, intrinsically, I'm motivated to work for the small business development. It sure ain't because of the money. But this is a different stage in my life. My kids are grown and gone, and so it's a different stage of my life. So compensation is not critically important, but it has to be right. It has to be fair. That's the biggest problem. I'm not going to get into Hertzberg's theory, but...
So the conclusions of the author: search for the truth, talk with former employers, go after the references.
Yep.
And because bona fide references will tell the truth, and put aside your emotions and evaluate the candidate.
You got it.
Properly.
You got it.
And this is the Fox Robbins Business Show. Thanks for watching. Talking about good employment technique.
Yep.
Meaningful technique. And all of our episodes are uploaded to YouTube for convenience. You can view these shows when it's good timing and
Yep.
things that you're in. Because you can go to YouTube. In the search box, just put in one single word, Fox Robbins, FOXROBBINS. Click and you have a library of shows. Then you can pick and choose ones that are of interest and watch them when it's convenient. And thank you, and we will see you guys next time.